World leaders are gathering in Brazil for the 30th United Nations Climate Change Conference.
But four of the world's biggest polluters, and they are America, India, China and Russia, well, they won't be attending the two-week summit. However, Climate Change Authority Chairman Matt Kean says that won't derail the conference.
This is the most important gathering of actors on climate change, whether it be governments, civil society, or the international community. And I expect many other nations like Australia are going to disclose their 2035 targets at COP30, perhaps holding off until they see what other nations are doing. We've just seen this week the EU has formalised its target just a few days ago at 66.25% to 72.5%. versus 1990 levels. A different baseline, but not too dissimilar from Australia's, although we're targeting net zero by 2050. I'm also confident that beyond the headlines, there is a lot of action going on. Yes, as you said, the US is formally withdrawn from Paris, but California retains its net zero goal of 2045, and you wouldn't bet against what the world's fourth largest economy is doing if taken alone. So other US states are staying the course as well. And Fauzi, what I will say is that the technological tide has turned. In fact, it's rising. As The Economist magazine noted just this past week, a solar panel costs about 1/20th what it did 20 years ago. Batteries and the EVs that run off them are going to keep falling in price too, offering the world fossil fuel off-ramps that few would have predicted when Paris was signed in 2015.
Well, Australia's own representative will be the Energy and Climate Change Minister Chris Bowen, who will be meeting with political and business leaders there at COP30, as it's more commonly known. How would you rate Australia's current efforts in trying to mitigate climate change while developing green energy?
Well, I think very strong at the moment. It's been almost 2 months since we provided the Albanese government advice, which they accepted, on what Australia's 2035 emissions reduction targets should be, and that's 62 to 70% versus 2005 levels. This is one of the most ambitious in the world, particularly on a per capita basis. It's about 76 to 81% on a per capita basis. So I think we've got a great story to tell. We've got some exciting stories to tell when it comes to penetration of renewables. We've got one of the highest penetrations of rooftop solar anywhere in the world. That's not only delivering good environmental outcomes, that's also helping families and businesses with their bills. So that's a story we can tell the rest of the world and help them on the journey to a lower carbon economy.
All right, well, let's talk about this welcome mat that Australia is hoping to roll out next year in terms of hosting COP31 in South Australia. But given there is no real political consensus over the nation's direction on climate change and energy, does South Australia deserve to host a climate summit?
Absolutely. This is a huge opportunity, not only for South Australia, but for Australia. Tens of thousands of people will descend on our country, bringing their knowledge, bringing their capital, bringing their skills to hopefully help us with our economic growth story, but also help us take our clean energy advantages to the rest of the world. I keep telling people that this is not only an environmental imperative, this is an economic opportunity. We should be seizing the moment to underwrite a new era of prosperity for our nation, and that's certainly what I'm focused on. So the chance to host COP in South Australia, I think we can showcase Australia and what we're doing to the rest of the world and drive a lot of investment, create new jobs and underpin new economic growth for our nation, and we should be grabbing it with both hands.
You sound very optimistic about Australia's future. Matt Kean, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday morning.